Hello, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Pixelated Echoes. I'm your host, 3-Bit, and we're going to have a very pixelated evening tonight. If you're listening, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified when we go live, because sometimes myself and Fuzzy can be kind of spontaneous when we miss a show, and we like to spend time with y'all. And if we miss a show, sometimes it's not on that scheduled Sunday. Sometimes we'll do like, let's do a Wednesday show to make up for our Tuesday. It's just been holidays, a lot of things have been going on. So but we're happy to be back. Holidays are coming up still, so our schedules might be a little bit of fritz here and there as we spend time with our family. Things are happening, but we're happy to be back for today's awesome episode. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, press the like button. So each time you do it, it gets us closer to that goal of other people finding out about us, our shows, and our network. And hitting that like button is free. We are now on Blue Sky as well. So be sure to follow us on there if you want to be updated pretty quickly. And for our audio listeners, by the time you are hearing this, we should be starting to upload these episodes to Spotify. A lot of people have been asking for it. I've been getting it ready on the back end. So do us a favor, like our shows on there, tell your friends about us, and we hope everyone watching has a wonderful Indiana evening that's coming up. Yeah, there are those are things I tend to forget to tell people, like be sure you subscribe and things but always appreciate it, never expected. But let's get into the show. As we always start with what we've been playing, Fuzzy, and I've been all over the place in terms of games. I finished Overcooked with my wife, my stepsister, and now we're on to Overcooked 2. A lot more arguments are happening in Overcooked 2. There's a lot more going on in Overcooked 2, which I had a feeling would happen. Like, you have to like steam food now. Like you combine food and you steam it, and there's a lot more mechanics. Like you can throw food now, which introduces like this whole other way of playing that game. Like Overcooked is crazy. If you guys never play Overcooked, play the first one and then play the second. I wouldn't jump straight into the second because I would just get overwhelmed and then I would stop playing. But it's like a good skill gap. Like you play the first one as like your tutorial-ish kind of mission, and then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, I've been playing Overcooked 1 and 2. There's been like a slight seasoning of Stalker 2 that I've been playing. Been getting my butt kicked. Oh my gosh. Getting destroyed in that game. But been enjoying that. So I'm interested in what you have to say about that, Fuzz. And then I'm finishing up Ace Attorney. Like I'm pretty close to finishing that. I can't help but think that's one of those games that would be a really good handheld experience. Just because there's this text dialogue, and then you're just kind of going through text options. So I feel like that's made for a handheld. So Xbox, get on it. I want to play it on your device. Yeah, work related things. I've been editing a few food commercials. I was telling Fuzzy behind the scenes. So if you're down south, there's a restaurant called Jack's. They're having some pretty fiery menu items, and of course I'm doing some of their commercials, so be on the lookout for some of their specials they got coming up. And honestly, that's what I've been up to. There's been a lot of Starfield, of course, throughout the year, and we're going to talk about games, a lot of games that we've been up to for our first topic, but of course. Got to bring it to you, my co-host, the racing legend, the real-life Felix the Cat, the driving sensation, the fuzziest of all the Belvederes. He's the fuzziest one. How are you today, good sir? And what have you been playing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. And man, all over the place as well with games. Like I've been hopping back and forth. Like fell in pretty deep with a Stalker 2. Just loving the gunplay, the exploration, the atmosphere, the maps and things like that. And then as you get further along, then things start to go a little weird and even more dangerous as you try to cross the map and stuff like that, and uh, starting to figure out the fast travel with your guides that you can find at certain hubs and things like that. But just loving that and finding secret things that I guess reveal nightmare fuel. I don't know if anybody watching today saw one of my posts on Blue Sky. um, was teleported somewhere with something and
Hmm.
just started shooting because I didn't not expect that to be where I was going. But that game is a awesome thing for looter shooter fans, for first person shooter fans, for you know people that are fans of, like, let's say even Metro, even though it's a good bit different than Metro, but they have some parallels. Just think of this as like hardcore Metro or extra hard Metro, with survival aspects, a little bit tougher in comparison. But just loving that game. Got to dive into Indiana Jones a little early.
Heck yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Boomstick for that. Hooked me up with the code for it, but man,
Lucky. Like
like
I was
I
holding back, man. I was really close to buying that thing.
mhm.
The premium edition. I was like my finger was on the button. I'm like, no, I can wait. I can wait. It was awesome. Awesome.
No, but it's the greatest thing is that you get the, like, if you do the premium edition, or if anyone did the upgrade, you get the DLC, you get some extra outfits and stuff, and you get the digital art book, which just the level of detail on some of these scenes or environments and things like that, they definitely took their time and made this pretty much movie like, as far as the dungeons, or the, I guess you could say, the tombs and things like that. But man, just loving the fact that you could pick up random things and either throw them as a distraction or throw them and hit people upside the head. um Loving the hand-to-hand combat, even though I'm still kind of early on. Haven't found any books yet or purchased any books to do upgrades, which I love the fact that they have upgradable things for your character. It's a little RPG aspect, but just think of it as an action RPG, not a true RPG. But just love the fact that they have that mixed in there. And then the whip definitely makes for a good snap response, as opposed to like somebody's getting ready to draw a weapon.
Yep.
Don't try to rush them and take the weapon from them. Just whip it out of their hands, and then they're like, ah, you know, and then they're like not paying attention for a minute, and then you can run and punch them in the face. So,
Yep.
yeah, that game is just so much fun. But stumbled back into Dead Island 2. Like, the zombie
Oh yeah.
kick is still going for
That
me.
game is like so like it's polished, but it just feels like really good. Like when you're
Yeah.
kicking a zombie, the
Mhm.
lighting, like the amount of like guts and stuff that come out in the areas you hit. So cool.
Yeah.
How you liking it?
I'm loving it. Like, I still have a special place in my heart for was that Dying Light, the first one. Dying Light 2, I'm gonna have to come back to, because I didn't like it as much as the first one, but maybe that was a me thing more so than anything at
No,
launch.
that was
But
me as well.
it feels like if Dying Light 1 was Grand Theft Auto, Dead Island reminds me of kind of like Saints Row 3 range. Like,
Mm.
it's not as crazy, but it does have some craziness to it. And it's good in its own way without it being a clone kind of thing. So there is a lot more fun to it, I guess you could say, as far as things you can try and combination weapons and stuff like that. Or just like, I don't think you could kick or power up your kicks and things like that in Dying Light 1. Like, I know after they did the DLC you could, and then they would have like certain seasons where you could like get extra points if you drop kick zombies off the rooftops and things like that. But the way they have it for Dead Island 2, um, yeah, it's so much more fun, as far as just you could slide and then do like almost like a all you can like punch to kind of take out some of the zombies, or if you get weapons later on, power up the weapons. make it so they work as like saws for chopping off limbs and stuff if you shoot at ankles or kneecaps or jointed areas and things. But
Yeah.
it's for a zombie killing fan, yeah. Dead Island 2 is definitely a good one to play. And I'm pretty sure I've mixed a lot of other games in there other than still on my driving kick with Forza Horizon 5. Just love the fact that we still get new cars. Pretty much every month we get like 4 weeks of cars. Um, just kind of looking forward to what they could possibly do for Forza Horizon 6, although I still think that's a 2026 window,
Yeah.
and they'll give 2025 to Fable, but yeah, just playing a bunch of games, not enough time. Still have yet to touch Path of Exile 2, which
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
gotta.
I know if I spend that $30, I'm gonna put all other games on hold because it has all of the theory crafting stuff that I like, where you can mix and match different power ups and just try different things. And Diablo has that too, but it seems like there's a lot more. I wouldn't say nuance, but there's a lot more stuff that you can kind of mix and match with Path of Exile too. But man, there's just too many games out there right now. But other than that, watched a couple of movies. There's a movie called Sweet Meat,
Mm.
and no, it's a horror film, not a an adult
Yeah. I've been
film.
on a horror kick
It's
too, for sure. Yeah.
but it's more of I wouldn't say it's a musical, but it's more of like a comedy slasher kind of thing.
Mm.
Like think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre if it was a musical with a sense of humor kind of thing. And then The Substance was another one, which body
Yeah.
horror with
That's what I
Demi
watched.
Moore.
Yep. Yep. That was a movie. I just watched that.
Yeah, but yeah, there's some decent movies if you're a horror fan out there. There's always decent movies out there, but just picking and choosing which ones to watch. I still recommend Smile 2. That first 10 minutes it definitely is a start. It's a good way to start. But man, I've rambled enough. We should get into these topics. But
No, no, I
glad to
love
be here.
it's been a minute, right? So it's good to like catch up on what we've been up to. I've watched The Substance.
Mhm.
Um, wow. That's one of those movies like other people who watch The Substance, they're like, "Yep, I know what you mean." Like it's hard to describe that movie. It's good. I thought
Mhm.
it was a great movie. It's just like you just have to experience that movie or maybe don't. I don't know. It's very good, very good.
Yeah. I
Definitely
won't
some body
spoil
horror.
anything, but like there's a point where it changes. It goes from being, oh, okay, this is manageable. Okay, it's going a little overboard here, and then all of a sudden it's like, what did I just watch? What was that just happened? What is happening right now?
It's definitely
But
a roller coaster that keeps
yeah,
going up for sure. A great movie though. I watched
yeah.
that and I watched Green Knight last night.
Mm,
Which it's kind of Christmas. I mean, it's Christmas kind of movie. It's like Nordic, kind of like a Hellblade kind
mm,
of experience. It's a travel movie. So if take that what you will. It's a slower. It's a journey movie. So he's going from
mm.
point A to point B, and it's more so about his journey of how he got there. So it's slower, but it's A24. So you're gonna see great acting, great cinematography, all the good things. I feel like I'm just
Yeah.
on an A24 kick lately. Um, the good stuff. I don't know actually know if A24 is Substance. But it feels like a A24 movie.
I don't think it is, but it's like what was the name of the one group? It's like working title. I was like, wait a minute, is it? Are they saying that the substance is a working title, or no? The actual producing company is called Working Title, which is kind of weird to see. Hey, the substance made by Working Title. Wait, what?
Yeah, yeah. That
So
always throws me off. I'm like, are you guys not done? Like, are we seeing the draft version of the movie? But no, great films. Some people in our chat are talking about it. Shine Film says The Substance was a wild ride. Demi was great in that role. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a while since I seen Demi in a role. I can't actually remember the last thing I seen Demi Moore in. Um, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good to see her again, and she absolutely
Hmm.
killed this role. So, and Eastside Vandal says Dev Patel is a pretty good actor. Yes.
Yeah.
I think after watching this movie that I just watched, The Green Knight,
Mhm.
he's jumping up. He's jumping up my list of like favorite actors. Like he did really good in Monkey Man, um, and he seems to be really into the production of a film. Like he was the reason why Monkey Man was created. You know, him and Jordan Peele, and I guess there was something with him helping that other film get to production as well. So super cool.
Mhm.
I know it's not a movie podcast, but hey, let's we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But appreciate everybody for dropping on by. Definitely check out everybody in our chat if you guys watch The Substance. One, make sure that people don't come in halfway. Like they don't know what the heck is going on because it can.
Mhm.
It's a lot of nudity, a lot of things going on. And I just have this thing where I'm watching a movie and I would be at like at a friend's house and we would
Mhm.
it'd always be the worst moment where like a parent walks
Like,
walks in, like what the heck are you guys watching? So yeah, just be wary. But
why
good
is
film.
Demi on the bathroom floor?
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
what the heck are you?
what is all the blood?
Like what? Okay. Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies, but I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are because it's one of those movies where you're just like, what do you think about this flick? But yeah, let's get into our first topic, y'all. So a lot of things are happening. But I wanted to kind of reflect, you know. So for those who don't know, Xbox has posted their year in review, which is similar to Spotify's Wrapped series, in which you can see how much time you put onto the service over the course of the year. I'm gonna put some of my stats up on the screen. I didn't have a lot of time to game this year, but I did complete a lot of games this year, which was my goal. And my number one game was Starfield. So I'm gonna put this up. So I'm not a fake gamer. You guys could see my stats, right? So for Starfield, this was like the main page, where it shows the year in review. Um, it's pretty cool. I hope every time they do this, they go even into more detail. Like you spent X amount of time in the pause menus, or you you spent like the little things, the little stats. I always find those are really funny and kind of cool just to see what you've been doing. Like you spent this amount of time in inventory systems and stuff like that. Um, so this was like the main page. It showed up, and then later on, it kind of goes down. Apparently, I spent 354 hours on the console, and only spent 4 hours on the PC. This is what they said. So apparently, I am not a PC gamer. This is you guys can see that. See my stats right here. So it was really cool to see this overall.
Yeah.
Like I am clocking in. Here's the third screen. 55 hours on Starfield. It's my number one game this year. Now I did jump between different accounts on Starfield, so it's kind of hard to tell like how much. I was thinking it was more so like 70, 80 hours this year
Mhm.
on Starfield. Because I made this whole other character on another account, and I was just screwing around. Um, but overall, it's probably maybe 100 something hours, but maybe 80 this year. And my second most played game, which I didn't even know I played this much, was NBA 2K24. So that one was about 38 or something hours this year.
Oh,
Um, so surprising. I know I played that game a lot, but
mhm.
it's just cool to see, I guess, the stats of like, oh yeah, I guess I was playing that game like every day
Mhm.
kind of vibes. So I have all my stats up online. I posted it on Blue Sky. You guys could check it out. And it's pretty cool to reflect on the year you've had gaming wise. My goal this year um is what was to finish a lot of games. I think my goal going forward is to beat the Yakuza game. or at least get pretty far by the end of the year, and then finish
Mhm.
off with beating Indiana Jones. So, seeing this stuff, Fuzz, what were some of your stats, and what was your favorite game that you beat this year? If you beat
Ooh.
some games, I thought this could be an interesting conversation. But
Well,
yeah.
I don't think I beat that many games this year, although I know I finally beat Prey this year. I beat well, I think I beat Starfield last year, but I haven't finished the Shattered Space. I definitely beat Still Wakes the Deep, Hellblade 2. Um there's like about five other ones. Like, oh, Atomic Heart was another one. Um most of the well, I finished part of the story and then made it to like the legendary status for like State of Decay 3 or well, State of Decay 2, I'm sorry. Um Finished the main story thing where it's like you pick one of the two pairs. Um Finished that, and then the other one, I have three three groups or three villages, I guess you could say, that made it to where they could go into the legendary pool and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um,
So you got like
Sif,
some decent time in State of Decay.
yeah, like okay, so State of Decay, I got two. Well, bear in mind, everyone, I'm retired, so I have the ability to have a lot of spare time to play video games. I got 246 hours this year
Ooh,
in State
killing
of
me.
Decay 2.
Mhm.
Because the key thing is a lot of that was basically me reintroducing myself to it because I bought it at launch,
Did you
played it,
start from
had
the very beginning?
yeah. Now I had maybe about a couple of hours prior to that when the game first came out, but there was like a few bugs that were annoying and there was other games I could play, so I was like, "Oh, I'll just come back to it when they fix it." And then there kept on being other games in between. So I this year I was like, "You know what? They're supposed to be wrapping stuff up because they're going to be working on State of Decay 3. They were talking about their last update being like update 38, and they just did update 37 at the time when I was like, oh, let me check it out. Oh, everything works great. Well, okay, there's this one little bug, but they're working on that, and it's not even that big of a deal. Like before, it was like, okay, stuff is missing or stuff disappears or you unlock something and then you get stuck. Like before, those bugs were like, yeah, let me put this down, but all of that has been fixed. So I just went to town, played it, basically made it my Walking Dead simulator. And 1,300 gamer score later and 92 achievements later, I finished like I said, three villages, made it to the legendary pool, and then the story I finished with at least one pair. I don't think I started the other pair. Like you could choose between two pairs or two groups for the story mode one, but I think it winds up being about the same. But played a lot of that, even though I've gotten a lot of achievements already prior for Forza Horizon 5. That was my number two with 209 hours this year. Only
Yeah, and I got your
160 gamer
stats
score.
up on the
Oh,
screen.
okay.
So you sent it to me, so I was like, okay, I'll pull it up. Oh my gosh, man, killed me,
Yeah.
killed me.
And as much as I play that game, I'm only in the top 2%.
It's, for Forza or for
For
oh yeah, yeah,
Forza.
for
I'm in the
Forza.
top one for
Yeah.
State of K2, only in the top 2% for Forza Horizon, which I gotta work on that. And then Stalker 2 being this new game that I've
Yeah,
kind of
that's
fallen head over
surprising.
heels in. I got 142 hours in it. 16 achievements, 185 gamer score. I'm just playing around and trying not to die. I don't even think it should, no, it doesn't show how many deaths, but I'm somewhere at like 28 or 30 or something like, and I know there's probably some people with more. I was trying to keep it under 20. Yeah, good luck with that. But yeah, that game is just so much fun. But Indiana Jones is going to kind of steal some of its time for right now. But some of the other games, like I fell into Deathloop again this year.
Oh yeah,
Diablo, which I it didn't really chart as far as hours, but I know I put a lot of hours into it. But I haven't touched the Vessel of Hatred yet, so I need to work on that.
same. Maybe we should run that. Um, That's a game I played. The first, I mean, the first time I played Diablo was with
Mhm.
Mav and Pong, and that was chaotic. They were definitely carrying me, but that was definitely really fun. I got to run the Festival of Hatred at some point.
Yeah, I gotta do it too. Now we may have lost Pong to Path of Exile on
Oh
that,
yeah, he's
so
gone.
either we,
He's
we
gone.
might have to go to Path of Exile too with them, or try to figure out when we can do Vessel of Hatred. But played Prey, beat that. Tried to get I got I think 3 out of 4 endings. I think, or there's at least 2 endings. Did at least the two, and then the other ending, I guess they don't really count because you're kind of leaving early. Uh, I'm not spoiling anything if the game is like over 5 years old at this point, but
Yeah, yeah.
Division 2 was number 6. Solitaire, which that's like my daily fix, like in between games. It's like, oh, I'm on my computer looking up stuff. Oh, let me play some solitaire while I'm at it. That was up there. Dead Island 2 was up
Yeah.
there. Atomic Heart's up there, and that was one that I beat this year. And it was like because it was leaving Game Pass, I was like, oh, let me hurry up and beat this. The First Descendant was another one that I fell in hard for a good
Mm.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I forget what made me put it down, but I think it was probably going to do like Starfield with Shattered Space or something. Something made me put it on pause for a bit, but
Sure.
I'll eventually get back to it. Played the Mafia, the definitive edition, basically the
Oh,
first one.
same.
I
Yeah.
played 3 before, but I don't think I've beat it yet. I need to go back to that one. But the first one, I don't think I played that originally. So I was like,
I
yeah, let
didn't
me
either. Yeah.
yeah, so I went and barreled through that, revisited Outer Worlds 2, Vampire Survivor, Power Wash Simulator, which when everybody else was playing, I was like, I'm not playing that. I'm not going to play some Power Wash simulating game. And it's like, you know what? Let me give it a try. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I don't know if I got a 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score, but I'm pretty close. Like I did some of the seasonal stuff too.
Mhm.
Hellblade, I finished on PC the first Hellblade 2,
Yep.
but Hellblade 2, well, no, first Hellblade I finished on PC um, this year. I am 90% through on PlayStation for the first one, and on Xbox on the console, I'm only about 60% through. But I at least wanted to get the 1,000 gamer score on at least one of them. Um, and then finished Hellblade 2, but it didn't make the chart because I guess there isn't as much replayability or well, I I want them to make a mode where it's just a straight nightmare fight scene where
Yes.
you
Like a
have to
horde mode.
survive as many opponents as you can. Like I think that because the combat on that to me was so much better than the first one. And I know people are like, oh, well, you would have people sneak up behind you, but it was almost like they would wait until the voices in your head, oh, behind you. And it's like the other ones felt like with Hellblade 2, it felt like you could die at any minute. Like you swing too early or miss, especially if you didn't have it on dynamic, because dynamic always made it seem like even when you're about to die, you weren't going to die kind of thing. But you turn off dynamic and it's like, yeah, every last swing could be your last kind of thing. And
Yeah.
especially when you're
Yeah.
doing the underground fights with the whatever those people creature things, whatever those things are. Yeah, that game was awesome, but I guess it didn't last long enough as far as playtime. But I got 1,000 gamer score out of it. Scorn, that was another one I just got around
Oh,
to this year
ah,
because
forgot about Scorn.
it was, yeah, it was leaving Game Pass. So I was like, yeah, let me hurry up and finish before it leaves. I played Turnip Boy robs a bank. I already made mention of Deathloop and then Sifu, which I bought on PlayStation, then bought on Steam, and then it came to Game Pass, and it's like, well, I could easily get the 1,000 gamer score out of that. Well, not 1,000 gamer score, but I'm pretty close to finishing it. It's like I got to go through the last few of the second row of trials or whatever that thing is that you unlock and stuff. And then Manor Lords. That was my PC game of the year. That is a bit busted, but it's a city builder with extra aspects to it that I really like and can't wait until that becomes a 1.0 release. But yeah, a lot of time on console, a lot of time on PC, 1,500 hours plus gaming. 400 and some of it is Xbox, and 1,000 of it was on PC. Still play on my console, like Forza, because I don't want to take up all that space on my hard drive. I play on console. The same
Yeah.
thing with Flight Sim, although I bounce back and forth between PC and console, but I mainly like at least the first one, not the 2024. I need to get into that a little bit more. I mainly played on console because it was just so much easier. But if I'm looking to take video clips and pictures, yeah, I'm putting it on PC because I have it where uh, I think I had 2 terabytes at one point set aside of like my tri-state area at the highest resolution. So whenever I take off at like the airport that's up the road from my house, it's like, oh, everything looks as close as real as it could that a 3080 can do, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
man, just a lot of gaming. I'm curious to see what my PlayStation year is going to look like. Like normally,
Mm.
it's a lot of hours in GT7, but this year, I would say I don't think I even put 1,000 hours. Like I normally put in 1,500 hours a year just in GT7. I don't think
Mm.
I did that this year.
Yeah, I
There
don't
was just too
know.
many games on Xbox that I was playing.
I don't know if I
But
touched my PS5 this year. Let's see. Um, the Spider-Man 2, I might have played a little bit.
mhm,
Um, just to go back and Spider-Man is one of those games that's really fun to try and get all the achievements for because once you beat the game,
mhm.
it's just kind of you're just kind of going around the city at that point and doing some of the side missions and things like that.
Yeah.
So I probably have some hours in that, but I want to highlight whose message was that? Eastside Vandal. So shout out to you, brother. He basically said that you did plan a wedding and get married this year, so I'm happy to see that you prioritize that over gaming. I had a lot going on this year, of like work related, life related. But best believe next year I'm gonna have those numbers up. But yeah, a lot going on this year. But I've never been shy about like showing what I'm playing right now. Like I'll play like a dating sim and be like, "Hey guys, this is what I'm what I'm playing." I think in terms of games that I beat this year, like I knew my hours was going to be kind of low this year, so I tried to just beat certain games that I like always kind of wanted to play. Like I beat Mafia 1 because I've
Mhm.
always just wanted to play that game. Like I played Mafia 3. That was my introduction to the Mafia kind of franchise, and then I was like, this is awesome. I want to see what the other ones are like and experience the first one. I'm pretty close to beating the second. It's just this. I don't know if I'll go back. Like I'm literally right near the end of Mafia 2. There's just too many games capturing my attention right now. Especially Indiana Jones, which we will definitely get into. RoboCop, I did beat. That was really fun. I had no idea the team that makes that game. They made like Rambo and some other games, and that was awful. So I was like, how good can RoboCop really be? Mav played it on stream and like,
Mhm.
dang, this looks fun. Like the combat looks solid and looked like something I would enjoy. So that's why I jumped into RoboCop and wow, that game is actually really good. That's something I was looking for a RoboCop game. They do not shy away from violence. There's a lot of
Mhm.
blood. It's like punchy the combat, and it's like open world in some cases. Like you go and investigate. There's a lot of side missions in the city. Very cool game to play this year. Hellblade 1 and 2. I wanted to get the 1,000 in Hellblade 1, so I revisited it right before the second one came out. Played that, and I was like ready for Hellblade 2 by the time it launched and beat Hellblade 2. Amazing game. Like Fuzzy was saying, I love the combat. Like it changes the animation based on how you're leaning. So if you're like leaning a little bit more towards the right, you might do like an uppercut or you might stumble a little bit. Like I haven't seen any game kind of attempt that. Um Coffee Talk I played this year. I think I beat the second one, but if not, that's something I gotta beat. Ace Attorney I beat this year. I'm on the there's like a trill. It's like a weird thing. They combine. two games in one because I bought like the pack. It's like
Mhm.
the Ace Attorney, I don't know, trilogy. I don't really know how. I don't understand how it's combining the games, but I'm pretty close to beating that, if not at the very end. And then now we got Indiana Jones. So I will definitely beat that this year. So I feel like I did pretty good this year considering I got married, moved into a new house, um, had a bunch of stuff in my job and all this different stuff. But dang, some of you guys were posting your hours on Starfield and stuff. I was like, dang, I thought I did good. But yeah, you guys are definitely killing it. Someone said, let me see if I can find that. Someone said, oh yeah, Mac 22TH 54 said 664 hours on console, 3 hours on PC, zero on mobile. Oh, that's his total. But I could have swore someone said like their um oh, here goes. He said before that 499 hours in Starfield in the top 1%. Yeah. Um
Nice.
that's crazy. That's awesome. Starfield is such a great game. I mean, it was my top game played this year. I knew I
Mhm.
played it for a long time. I just didn't realize that it would be my top. Like, because I felt like I jumped in other games. Like I played Coffee Talk for a long time. I felt like I did a lot of hours in like certain games, like RoboCop. I was like, oh, that might jump up there. But no, yeah, I guess Starfield's my top game of the year this year. So I hope they keep doing these yearly, keep putting um up more statistics. Like it's just interesting to see. And you guys get to check out what I've been up to. It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to share. It's also cool to think about what you did over the year, um, and what you've been
Well,
putting time towards.
I really like that they have like kind of like this tag or badge that they give you based on the type of games that you play. Like I almost wish that that would stay on the profile kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Like I've seen some people where it's like demo expert or like was another good one. Always or first to fight or finish the fight or something like that. I've seen quite a few different ones based on like if you're playing like a lot of first person shooters or you're primarily playing racing games or other sports games and things like that. Like yeah, it's pretty cool that they went through that trouble with all those stats and things like that. Like this should be like the standard every year around this time for Xbox. It's like, oh, and then have it where you could either post it to social media, just like what they did now. Although they could probably make it a little bit easier with like a little, you know, let's say gamer card or something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, that's awesome that they did this.
Yeah, I love just seeing people's stats, what they vibe with, right? Because like there are, I feel like a lot of casual people in the community might just play Call of Duty most of the time, which is fine. You know, I never will game shame, but especially considering I play like dating sims and stuff like that. Um, but most of their time will be Call of Duty, Madden, and things like that. But I feel like Xbox has a ton of different genres, like RPG, like with um, on playing like Path of Exile. Just a lot of games out there, and a lot of people have different tastes. So, if you guys post down below what you like to play, what games you've been rocking out this year, what was your top play game? I'm just interested. Overall, like I know Mav, he's really vibing with Stalker 2 right now.
Yeah.
Like he said that's becoming like his game of the year. Like I was like, oh shoot, and I'm really enjoying it too. There's just a lot to play. So yeah, definitely you guys post what your top game of the year was. I would love to hear what you guys are up to. There
Mhm.
was a mini topic in here that I wanted to kind of include because I just want to get your thoughts on it overall. It's not our main topic. We'll get to Indiana Jones, but I just want to get your thoughts. So, Foam Stars will be ending December 13. So no new content will be added. The various online content will still be kind of available. Like they're shutting it down, but you're still able to play with your friends. Somehow, I don't really know how that works. Maybe it's like or so you can start a party or something like that. Um, so fuzzy. The real question is, have you played Foam Stars? Isn't it? Is that at the top of your list as well? That you're hiding it, or what's it
Uh,
like?
un- Unfortunately, no. I mean,
No.
it sounds like it's a pretty cool concept, but I think Square's mistake was only putting it on the console. They should have convinced Sony to also put it on PC at least. Um, some games hit, some games don't. I think that one may have had a little bit longer legs if it landed on PC as well. I mean, Splatoon does well on Nintendo, but PlayStation players are not the same as Nintendo players. They look for certain things or
Seems like
different things.
Splatoon 3 is safe, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Splatoon 3 is probably a safe bet on Nintendo, but
Yep.
like Foam Stars, like there's one of two ways that that thing could have blown up. One being that put it on more platforms, give people the chance to play it and see where it goes. The other way is probably if they made it more like kind of what the name suggested originally, where it was like almost like the VIP room at what do you call it, a gentleman's club kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. So if they made it more like that, but I don't think you can make a game like that and sell it, even if you did for mature audiences. But then the problem is if you limit it to mature audiences, you're limiting your audience
Yep.
because mommy's not going to buy it for 10-year-old Timmy. No, that's not happening unless he somehow fools her into thinking it's like Splatoon, and then they probably got a lawsuit because parents will be up in arms about their kid in the VIP room or in
Yep.
the suds room. So, but I think that
Uh,
was not to knock the concept. I think that would have been the only way that that game would have done well, at this day and age, and not be on Nintendo. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say it was doomed from get go, but it just Square was making bad decisions back in the day, and I think they're getting a little bit better with some of their decisions. That was one that I don't think really appealed to the PlayStation player base. Uh, Capcom did things a little bit differently when it came to like Path of the Goddess and what was the dinosaur one? Not Extinction. What was it? It was
Um.
almost like dinosaurs and Anthem
Yeah.
mixed kind of thing.
Yeah. I can't remember the name, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But like games like that being put into like a service, that kind of helped them. Although I don't think they reached the numbers that they hoped, but at least it softened the blow by having Microsoft pay for the bag and then put it in Game Pass, which kept it relevant for at least a month or two. Um,
Exoprimal,
Path of the
Eastside Vandal said.
Yeah, Exoprimal, like with that. That's one of those things where if Foam Stars was in PS Plus, maybe it would have had a better chance, kind of thing. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. It just Square being Square.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to bring it up as a mini topic because it's interesting, right? It's like PlayStation. No matter what they do, it's like they're struggling with different live service titles, and that's just one of them. But also to the point of the chat, trying to say everybody in the chat talking about it. Eastside Vandal also says Foam Stars should have been everywhere to give it a chance. RIP Foam
Yeah.
Stars. We'll bury you next to Concord. Concord was interesting. Because Why So Serious says they saw the beta number. My whole thing was Sony didn't see the apparently they were ignoring the beta numbers for Concord because the beta numbers for Concord was so low. Yet they decided to not change their strategy at all. It's like let's just release it. And we seen how that how that turned out. But Foam Stars is one of those things where I'm like, you really could have benefited from expanding your reach. This is just a crowded market. So when you're doing an online game, you really should be lowering the entry point as much as possible. Whether that's free to play, that's a model that just works for a lot of reasons. Because it's a lot of people like free stuff. But you can reel people in other ways. Whether that be
Mhm.
skins, people could do maybe custom soap textures or something like that you could make have people do. Maybe you add in extra DLC characters, just things like that that could lower the entry point and have people jump into a game like that. But there's a lot of games out here like Fortnite, a lot of online games that are already capturing people's attention. So when you release something like Film Stars, you really got to make sure it's everywhere. I mean, at this point, otherwise you're just kind of dead on arrival in a lot of cases. So I mean, it's almost like as soon as it was announced, a lot of us seen this sort of coming. But I'm glad they're somewhat still allowing people to play it. I know they're shutting down a lot of the servers. I'm kind of confused by that. So if anyone in the chat knows like exactly what they're shutting down, like it said from the article I've seen, it says no new content will be added. Various online content will not be available, but you can still play with friends. So I'm just confused by that whole thing. So if anyone knows about the foam stars, just let us know. I'm curious. So let's get into our main topic, our thumbnail of the show. Indiana Jones is finally launching to Xbox and PC platforms exclusively for a little bit. PlayStation will be getting a version later next year. Machine Games just released a day one patch today, allowing the game to have ray tracing plus some performance patches. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle Day 1 patch is out now. It includes the full ray tracing, path tracing on PC for 12 gigabyte cards or above, and it has a lot of fixes. AMD FSR support is coming in a future update. I'm going to actually put something on the screen just so you guys can see it. So these are the list of patches and improvements that they decided to put in the game. So you see it on the screen. Basically, they have fix for crashes. They have some small gameplay improvements. So if you are just jumping into the game, cool, you got some improvements. You didn't even know it was a mistake to begin with. So really cool. We've had multiple episodes kind of talking about this game. And what I've essentially been excited for, um, I've been excited for a lot of things in the game, in particular, how they're going to handle being faithful to this franchise. I decided not to purchase the premium edition or the $100 version of the game, which means you get that early access. Fuzzy has been playing it, so I really want to hear. This episode will be kind of just interviewing Fuzzy and what he thinks about this game. I will be playing after the show, so this might be a shorter episode. We'll see. I really want to play this game. So Fuzzy kind of gave me the gameplay on the game. That's what's playing in the background. That is Fuzzy going amongst the forest. Super cool. I think it's it's like the first 10 minutes or something, right? Or I think
Yeah.
you sent me like a whole hour.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes, but it's in the like the first area. I didn't want to do the very beginning spoilers, and it's very light on. I mean, like the this is before I think I go to like the second area and stuff. So this should be spoiler free. Um, but yeah, it's I love the exploration aspect of it. Like it feels more open world than even the more recent Tomb Raiders, and even what's the other one? Uncharted kind of thing. It's not as much like a limitation on crossing water or rocks that are like, on either side type of thing, but there are areas that are off the beaten path that if you're that type of player where you're always like, oh, this looks like a parting in the grass. Let me go down here. Yeah, it's worth doing because there's probably something there, whether it's a artifact, maybe it's a building and there's a book on a shelf kind of thing. I mean, there's so many things. Like, there's so much more to this game. It's not just like, hey, you go from point A to point B. Here's a mission. Do this, do that. No, because there's sometimes there's two or three side missions kind of bundled into one, or like two or three offshoots before you even get to the main mission. Like, you may be walking to the main mission, and then you hear somebody calling out and stuff like that, and you go off to the left, and you're eventually working towards that main mission. But because you decided to help this person, now you have either an extra power up, and power up meaning like stuff that you can. And I haven't really done this part of it yet, but
Mhm.
you get a certain amount of points for each thing you complete. So if you find something, you discover an area, you take out an enemy in a cool fashion or something like that, you'll get like these explorer points or something like that that you can put into leveling up your abilities and stuff like that. You can also find money, and there will be stores that you'll come across, which some of the stores will sell books that you're definitely going to want to buy because
So cool.
it'll teach you how to either be better at fisticuffs or better at whipping weapons out of fools' hands, kind of thing. Like in any event, this game is so much more than just, you know, sneak past these guards, get to this little, sectioned off area, find this thing, and then get out of there. I mean, you can do it that way, or you can, do a mix of things. Like at first, I was throwing the bottles, and then all it does is like if you throw the bottle as a stealth thing and you want to go over there, they'll go over there. But probably by the time you quietly walk over there, or if you're not quietly like crouched down to be quiet, they're going to discover you anyway, even though they went to look at that bottle and they're like, hey, hey, where are you going? Kind of thing. So I just started throwing bottles and hitting them upside the head. Now, the great thing about this, you can adjust so many different things. Like if you feel that the AI are too stupid, you can level them up without changing anything else in the game. If you feel that the puzzles are a little bit on the easier side, you can level that up as well. And then if you do get stuck, just make sure you take a picture of whatever you're working on. Like once you get the camera, it's almost like that's your lifeline,
Mhm.
where if you're having a hard time figuring it out, or like even with Mr. Boomstick XL was saying in his review, you may want to have a notepad because instead of opening up your book and always looking at each card that you find, sometimes you'll maybe want to take a note like, okay, that statue had like an S on it, or that statue had an L on it, or something like that. So you may just want to have that little piece of paper, almost like the way you used to play video games, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And go ahead and do it that way. But if that doesn't work out and you got the camera, because that's like a later on type of thing, just take a picture of it again. And it's like, then you'll look at the picture and it's like, what am I not seeing? Oh, you know what? Maybe if I turn this picture, like it will give you the hints, and it knows when you're taking that picture again of the same thing that you're asking for help. So then that's when the
Mm,
game kind of nudges you a little bit more. So you don't feel like, I know a lot of people complained about like with God of War where
yeah.
Atreus was kind of,
Awful.
yeah, telling you everything what to do. You won't have any of that unless you want it. Like you can make it so the puzzles are like ridiculously easy, but if you just put it on normal, they won't be. I mean, they'll be easy, but not ridiculously easy. If you put it on easy, then they'll, But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, do it that way, and then know that your lifeline is just take a picture of it again, and Indy will kind of figure it out, or maybe one of your partners that is traveling with you will figure it out or help you figure it out, and like, hey, give me that picture, let me take a look at it, kind of thing. And it's like they made it so not only from an accessibility standpoint, but also from like how difficult you want it or how easy do you want it? Like, do you want the enemies to be easy so you can just bop them over the head, or do you want them to be, like it's a brawl and you might have to run and catch your breath kind of thing. So it's an awesome game. Like I'm still fairly early in. I'm probably about six or 7 hours in.
Hmm.
I'm on the third location, so I think this game is bigger than what people are anticipating. Like I know some people said, as far as the reviews, that they finished it in like less than 20 hours. That sounds like they didn't do like hardly any side missions, kind of thing. Like, and even then, I think they may have gone like the extra running route, like instead of doing any of the stealth, they probably ran and gunned. Although running gun doesn't work
Played on
unless you have
easy
it
mode.
on really easy mode. You put it
Yeah.
on the harder difficulty. You know how RE is about ammunition? Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, unless you're going to take the enemy's weapons, but then good luck because you'll probably get overwhelmed where there's three gunners and you're going to have to whip the gun out of the hand of one of them and then hopefully pull it to you or get it before they get theirs out. Yeah, the harder difficulty, yeah, I'm, I'm not ready for that. Not unless they have like a new game plus where you have all of your your abilities kind of thing.
Right.
I'm not sure if they have that yet, but this would be a perfect game to have that and then try it on the harder difficulty. Like if you're the type of person that likes playing RE like that, yeah, then that might be the case. But the the lighting, like I'm playing it on PC, although my PC isn't like top end, but it's a 3080. I'm only at ultra. Like there's you can go a little bit beyond ultra with the resolution of the textures. And
Mhm.
you could probably see, even though this is like a video, it's I wouldn't say it's muddy, but it is muted a little bit. It does look a lot crisper on my screen than what the video playback is doing because it downsized it to 1080. But I got a 3080. It's running at I turned all the bells and whistles up until it was down to like about 75, 85 frames. And then I capped it at 60 so it's fluid or smooth. Um, but there's so much adjustment on PC. As far as console, I would say it's on like high settings with extra things on like specular lighting and stuff like that. Like the shadows and stuff. Like I don't know if it has ray tracing on the console just yet. I
That
think that was one of the things that's for the patch. Well, if you
yeah.
play it, I guess tonight or tomorrow, I think it'll have it because I think that was one of the things that was different between the early access for console versus launch day. I think you're missing out on ray tracing possibly, and I think that was about it. But the game looks gorgeous even without ray tracing. But the lighting, the shadows, the flickering of flames, the you can turn down the highlights. Like I know you might see when I go to pick up stuff, it has like an outline. You can adjust how much that outline shows. So if you want to feel more like you're immersed in the real world kind of thing, you can turn some of that stuff down. But there's just so much to this game. And like I said, I'm only about 6 or 7 hours in. I know I've listened to some of the reviews. Some people said the what do you call them? The fighting is a bit repetitive, but it it's all up to you on how you do the fighting. Like the key thing is you have a whip, you can pick up a lot of the things that you come across, whether they're bottles, shovels, candles, a broomstick, a bust, like a little mini statue. You could take the artifacts and hit people with them. I don't suggest doing that because I I haven't tried doing that, but I have a feeling that it's not going to Indy's probably not going to be happy when you throw an artifact at somebody's head. But
Mhm.
yeah, there's just so much to do. Like I've thrown a book at somebody that wasn't one of the ones that you could collect. I threw a candlestick at somebody. I bopped somebody upside the head with like a little billy bat.
Yep.
Broke a bottle on somebody's head. If it looks like they were pulling for a whistle or a weapon, get the whip. Don't even try to punch them because you're probably not going to get close enough to them fast enough. So before they get the whistle, because the whistle is just going to alert everybody, and then it's now instead of the three or four people that are in front of you, it's going to be like 16 people coming after you. Um, but once again, if with the adjustments on AI, if you want to keep them dumb, you could probably like let's say you're getting overwhelmed, climb a ladder and make them climb up to you and then kick them off the ladder. But that's only if you have it on like the lower setting. You
Mhm.
make it on the higher setting, they're gonna be like, oh look, he climbed the ladder and then they'll just pick you off kind of thing. So
Yeah.
this game is awesome. Like there's just so much to it. But like I like the sneaking around stuff. I like sneaking up behind them and then taking them out. Like I guess there's different silent ways you can do it, but you don't have to do the silent method. Cracking upside the head or sometimes punching them, as long as they don't break a table when you knock them out. Which the sound effects are awesome on this game as well. Um, but yeah, this I was I was hoping that this would be a different game than what they originally, well, not originally what they told us, but like with it
Hmm.
being first person in comparison to like your Tomb Raiders and Uncharted,
Right.
I see why they decided to go with first person and then do like the traversal stuff in third person or certain scenes in third person kind of thing. Because like the first person aspect, when you're looking around or looking at puzzles and stuff like that, it just feels like you're actually doing this stuff. It just makes it feel that much more immersive as
Right.
far as moving around or interacting with the artifacts or interacting with stuff like for the puzzles. The first person is definitely a good choice. And I think if it went third person, which I'm pretty sure somebody will come up with a mod for a PC where it can always be in third person,
Yeah.
but I think it loses some of that aspect. Like I can't imagine the fighting. I would like to see what it looks like in third person, but when you're trying to do the puzzles, I'm happy with it being first person. It just feels better, especially when you're trying not to get shot in the head by darts or flying knives
Yeah.
or whatever is in the tunes and stuff like that that might try to take you out. So
I love
yeah,
it.
this
Like,
this game is awesome.
yeah, yeah. Love hearing your thoughts on it. Like, I think the first person choice, it kind of reminds me of what I do in Starfield. Like, I usually play in first person on Starfield, but I'll do third person for exploration. But for the actual combat, I prefer to just have the camera pretty close to the combat. So a lot of great thoughts there, man. I'm looking forward to. Are you playing it in cinematic mode or are you
No,
playing
because
it
I
the
didn't I
other?
didn't want the bars. I'm doing full screen. I don't have a wide screen. It's normal 16 by 9 ratio.
Okay.
But I'm doing full screen on that. I I didn't want to do the movie thing because I'm like, yeah, if I'm gonna do the movie thing, then I'm gonna want to put it on a bigger screen than because like my computer screen is like a 20, I think it's a 27. Wait,
Oh,
no, it
okay.
doesn't have it written. It's
Okay.
either a
Yeah.
27 or a 29. I would have to put it on the OLED um big screen if I wanted to do the whole cinematic setup.
Yeah. I play just to preface to people. I only played like I played right before the show. I was getting ready for the show. I was, getting our topics ready and everything, the thumbnail, make sure everyone has the link. Um, and right before the show, I was like, okay, I gotta play it a little bit. Okay, I've been dying to play this game, and I turned on the cinematic mode. I'm on a pretty big TV though, 77-inch OLED. It's a pretty big TV. Um, yeah, it is feeling like a movie. I'm really digging the cinematic mode. I might switch back and forth if I can. I'm pretty sure I can. But so this game itself, it kind of launches into other branches of conversation. I see a couple people mention the funny review on Indie. I didn't fully see that. I seen clips on it where he basically didn't like it, which I have a feeling he wouldn't. Just because Greg, I think, just post the show, he was talking about how he might not like it and things like that. So I wasn't really surprised by that review. But overall, people are vibing with it. Um, but it does launch the game into several other branches of conversation. One being a common thread I've seen is that people are kind of attacking the Unreal Engine now. So it's like it's kind of interesting. So this game is doing 60 frames per second, ray tracing, great visuals with barely a hitch. This is on the ID Tech engine. It's the same engine that does Doom is essentially being used here. I also think I think about like Xbox announcing it going to other platforms. Feels like the media is not going to be seeing Xbox as much of a threat as they maybe have in the past. And as they kind of start to see what their vision is, it kind of negates some of that tax a bit. It's like, well, if it's on other platforms, I guess I don't have to, tax the game is hard. I honestly feel like that's what's happening here, to be honest. But kind of getting back to this engine conversation, we know games like Witcher, the new Witcher game was previously using CD Projekt Red's engine, and now it's jumping onto Unreal. Halo, which was using the Blam engine, aka kind of the Slip Space engine now, since the early 2000s. That's now jumping onto Unreal Engine. So it'll be an interesting conversation when those games launch, Fuzz, and
Mhm.
it has a problem like how are those games going to evolve, because it will be a very easy comparison for both of those games, because you have the history of Halo.
Yeah.
You have 10 years of Halo to kind of compare it to, in terms of
Mhm.
performance and how that's going to play online and all those different things. um but I've been seeing interesting conversations with performance and how well, how great of a job they've done optimizing this game. So I kind of want to hear your
Mhm.
experience, like optimization, like you playing the game. How does it feel overall? And then we'll get into what that means for other engines and things like that. But what was your experience like?
I would say from a visual standpoint, now this is because it was probably because it's on PC. The only hitch I've ever seen in the 7 hours I've played was, and it was more of kind of like a lighting thing where Indy's face is moving, but the outline for the eyes was just off for like a split second.
Yeah.
And I think that was possibly because I don't have a good enough card to have this look flawless. But like that, I would say it compared to a lot of the UE5 games that are out there, I would say this is a much better optimized game.
Right.
Um, but I don't want to badmouth UE5 until E Day. Like, I want to see what the coalition can squeeze out of UE or UE5 before I really put it down. Like, because I think they're going to be the ones that will be able to easier or easily get like the 60 frames or better out of that engine and have it optimized and have the characters look at a higher level of detail, and they'll be like the gold bar standard. Now we can look at um what is, oh, I can't even remember the name of the group now. The ones that did
Oh,
Hellblade,
oh,
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory. Yep.
We can look and see what they did with UE5, and it looks amazing, but
Yep.
it's kind of capped at 30. Okay. I think they will eventually have the ability to get a 60 frames mode for that on console, but
Hmm.
that thing looks like you're playing a movie kind of thing. Like it
Yeah.
is,
Looks best looking game, by far. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't want to crap on UE5 for that fact because we've seen what you can get out of it. But and that was well optimized, at least in my opinion. It played flawlessly at that 30 frames. But
Yep.
I think Coalition is going to be the ones that really set the bar. Um, Heard some things that they, are sharing some of their notes with other Xbox studios, which a lot of their studios tend to do. So it makes it easier for whether it's collaboration or some assistance in getting things up to speed. Although I think there's going to be some shared info on how to optimize UE5 within Microsoft Studios and all their other publishing arms that are under their ownership and stuff. So for right now, compare it to other UE5 games. I don't think you're going to find another UE5 game that runs at 60 as smooth. Now, to my understanding, Stalker 2 is UE5, but I don't think they turned up all the bells and whistles as far as detail. Like, I'm not saying that they purposely gimped it, but I think they didn't want to go that extra mile, knowing that it is a massive map. And yeah, some people have pop in, and you may notice that, like, if you do the gameplay where there is some pop in where, let's say you're uh, going down the wall of a building and there's like a tree at the end, and you'll see a bit of the tree, but then when you get to a certain part of the wall, it all of a sudden seems like it's more in bloom or something like that. I think that's just the massiveness of that map and that game and all of the foliage that is on that map. But that one, I don't think was as well optimized, but it was optimized enough, at least in my opinion, to be playable at above 60 frames. So,
Right.
but I'm also playing it on PC, but it doesn't seem to be, being a slouch or anything on the console. Like I had it on my Series X for a little bit, and I mean, other than it not having some of the atmosphere stuff, um, as far as like the particle effects and stuff, but it has particle effects, just not at the same level. I would say well, at least it looked pretty good on my
Yeah.
Series X, but I just love being on PC for games like that because if I want to use keyboard and mouse for like the inventory stuff, I can for like some of the shortcuts because sometimes the controller doesn't quite do it as easily. But yeah, I think UE5 Xbox Studios will figure out a way to get that as polished, but that id engine, like they should probably
So good.
try a few other games on it.
Yeah.
Like even if it's like, let's say a crossover between Halo and Doom or something. Like I think, and even with the creation engine for that matter, for with Starfield, I know people are like, oh, it should go to UE5. It's fine as far as I'm concerned because you have that persistence in the world. Like if you set what are those um the hell do they call it? The contraband, like
Oh,
organs and
yep.
stuff like that.
Mm,
Like, let's say, for example, you don't have a secure hole to hide that stuff. Just go to one of the planets where they don't scan you before you land. Put it anywhere on the planet, just as long as you don't land like 6 or 8 other places on other planets. You can come back to there, and it will still be there.
yeah. Now they're
Like you can go across the universe, come back to that planet, it's still there. Like
yep.
I don't know. The creation engine is great. Id engine is phenomenal. They each have their highlights with like persistence for the creation engine or creation engine 2. Id engine is higher than 60 frames on a shooter or typically for shooter games where the level of detail is impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, those are great engines. But UE5, it's going to probably take until next generation where there'll be more hardware to handle UE5, and then they'll be talking about UE6. Oh, but UE6 has ray tracing and AI, or was it like live action AI where they can think on their feet, NPCs make up
Mm-hmm.
their mind in front of you, kind of thing. That'll be the new thing in the engine. Like, oh yeah, we can control all the AI within UE6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We'll see what they end up doing, but I thought it was an interesting form of conversation because if you look in Digital Foundry's thing, they're like, well, dang, if ID Tech is this good, why are people using Unreal Engine? Then it got into this whole other conversation where it's just like, why are developers moving to the Unreal Engine? Why not make your own engine? And I think the fact of the matter is, right now Xbox has a ton of engines that are theirs. They have the creation engine, they have the ID Tech engine, and Slipspace. I mean, now they're moving to Unreal, but that's still their engine. Um, and I think the benefit of using Unreal Engine is a lot of developers know how to use it, and it's also friendly for developers that are coming into the industry. Developers who are coming into the industry are not going to know how ID Tech works or the Slipspace engine. That was a problem with the Slipspace engine, is a lot of people who are contractors didn't really know how it worked. UE5, on the other hand, I can load up UE5 right now and try some stuff out. I could show it on the show, actually. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pros and cons to Unreal. I think because it's a universal engine, it's made to make every type of game. You want to make a first person game, you want to make an open world game. But there are certain things in the engine where it's because it's catered to do everything that almost in a way hurts it. um, as opposed to when you have something like ID Tech when they are making hyper focused games like Indiana Jones or Doom. Um, yeah, I don't know. Unreal Engine, for example, has like shaders in the game that are used. And if you're building out a game, you have like custom shaders and stuff like that. Let's say you are building a first person game and it handles water a certain way. You could completely rewrite it if you want, or Unreal provides custom water shaders for you, or marketplace assets will have it. So you're like, okay, well, I don't want to rewrite the water shader if they already have it. Let me just, I'll do some things here and there, and maybe change the water a little bit, but it's pretty much the same. So what ends up happening is you get the same water shader that's in one game and the other game, and that means your performance problem might be the same on both games because you didn't completely rewrite it. You didn't start it from scratch, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like you messing with what's already there, which I think is probably the biggest problem with a lot of developers working with the Unreal Engine is they use what's already there and they customize some of it, but some of what was already there could have had performance issues. Um, so that's my theory on it, anyways. When I'm working in Unreal Engine 5 and I'm moving across projects, I tend to have the same problems of optimization and stuff that I see in pretty big games. But I mean, if I were to be a developer, I would want custom engines. I think ID Tech is an amazing engine. I see a lot of people in chat are like, I love ID Tech and what it does and stuff. But not everyone can. I don't know. I go back and forth. Not every developer studio I think can do it. It's all about resources. Like I think it's really beneficial for the Halo Studios now. I was about to call them 343. Halo Studios. I think it's really beneficial for them to be on in Unreal. Coalition are the masters of Unreal, to the point where Epic Games sometimes tests them to help them with certain patch updates. Um, but Coalition, they're so good at Unreal and figuring out ways to optimize their games for it. I think it will help for a game like Halo and things like that. And the collaboration of the studios really just figuring out how to get the best out of the engine. But ID Tech is incredibly impressive. With what I'm seeing with Indiana Jones and what they did on Doom. I mean, Doom runs on a Switch.
Mhm.
That's pretty that's pretty impressive. You can run on a freaking potato. Um, so yeah, just I just thought I'll bring that into a point of conversation because a lot of people are praising the performance of this game. Like, wow, this what the heck is Unreal doing? And
Mhm.
I kind of agree. A lot of games that are coming out lately that use UE5, they are usually have similar problems that I've been seeing. It's like a pattern that I'm starting to see with a lot of newly released UE5 games. You can blame the developers and be like, hey, they didn't spend enough time on optimization, yada yada yada. But it has to be something with the engine at this point where I'm starting to
Yeah.
see the same problems over and over with like big games. So
The closest parallel I can think of would be like comparing Intel chips and AMD chips to ARM chips. Like having it is like having an ARM chip. You're going to be the best at optimizing it because it's your own in-house design at that point, or it's specifically designed to your spec. AMD and Intel make it where they're the more broad, all-encompassing for gaming, for facts and figures or spreadsheets and stuff. So because those chips are more I wouldn't say even mainstream, but just more not as specialized in comparison.
yeah,
You are going to have some hitches here and there depending on how detailed you want to write the program for those chips. But with these ARM chips, that's the whole rage of why Apple switched over and a few others are even considering it. It's because like, hey, if we want to work on efficiency, make this battery life last as long as possible, but get the best graphical fidelity out of it, we're going to have these things tuned to our spec and then have our the same memory bus for what we're looking to do. So I'm a fan of both engines. It's just that for right now, I do feel Unreal Engine 5 will shine best next generation when the
Yeah.
hardware can handle it, and all of the developers outside of the coalition and Ninja Theory have gotten their feet wet with it and understand it better. Like I still trust Ninja Theory and Coalition and what they're doing with that engine. And there's some others that are doing a pretty good job with it, but it's like when you look at that versus like Unreal Engine 4, like I think Why So Serious made mention, it's like
Yeah.
that's running on Unreal Engine 4, or Dead Island 2 is running on Unreal Engine 4, and that looks amazing,
Yeah.
but it's an older engine and developers have had more time to be familiar with it and use it, and they know its quirks and what it can do and what it can't do and how to optimize for it. So give it another generation. Although I know it sounds backwards because, like I said, they'll start pumping up, Unreal Engine 6 when the next gen, Xbox, or let's say if there's a PS6, which I think there might be at this point. Yeah, that's when they'll talk. Oh, PS6, Unreal Engine 6.
Hmm.
That would be what the talk is. But at that point, Unreal Engine 5 will play phenomenal on those next gen hardware pieces. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of money behind the Unreal Engine. I think it has a lot of benefits in a lot of different industries. I mean, I use Unreal Engine 5, so this is coming from a place of just like, um, I see the potential of the engine. I think it's super impressive. They use it for movies. It just has such a broad range. So I do wonder, talking with different developers like Coalition and things, how it can improve over time. But ID Tech Engine is I mean, is definitely kicking butt. So far with like the games like Indiana Jones and Doom, the performance on both of those games, every time I play it, it's so weird how smooth Doom was. Like when I first played Doom Eternal, I was just like, whoa. Like it's so smooth it almost messes with me a little bit. Because you almost expect games to nowadays to have a little bit some hitches here and there. But yeah, super great. Let me turn it to the chat. You guys are absolutely killing it. Shout out to everybody who is here right now. Be sure to hit that sub button. I'm gonna talk about Indiana Jones a little bit more, and then head to our last topic. But I really want to get to Fuzzy's all of his points with Indiana Jones as much as I can before I jump into it, because it's a game I've been looking forward to for years now. So I am very excited to check that game out. Def Leppard says Starfield is a nice looking game. It is a nice looking game. Um, I honestly think it was unnecessarily shamed, especially for what it's doing. I think some of the faces and stuff in Starfield look really good. Like it's a different style, so it's not going for like realism, but some of the eyes and stuff that they do, they make it like more stylized kind of realism. Super impressive. I really like what they do
One
with
quick thing I want
Starfield.
to say on that.
Yep.
On console, it looks great. On PC, if you have, I would say at least a 30 series, or I guess that would be the 7800 series for the AMD. It'll look even better. The better the card you have, the even better it looks, and that's without having to do mods. Um,
Mm,
the game, I think they scale it back just a smidge on console in comparison, so that way it runs smooth. And I kind of always felt that it should have been 60 frames. It was just a matter of, I guess Todd couldn't deliver that in time for the
yeah.
launch, but it was something that modders were able to do on PC like within hours of it launching.
Yeah.
So
Of
that
course.
should tell you how well designed that game and engine were for what it was. But yeah, I love how it looks, and I think it will continue to look better and better with some of the stuff that they're tweaking here and there as they go. So whatever that Starborn or whatever the next DLC might
Hmm.
be
Yeah.
ready.
That's gonna be insane. And something else with Starfield, like I played Starfield, then I played Skyrim just to go back. It's for me, it's hard to go back. Now that I've seen what Starfield does and how it does certain mechanics and the graphics and stuff, It was a little rough. Me returning back to Skyrim right after playing Starfield. So they do make improvements. I think it was unnecessarily shamed in certain regards,
Yeah.
especially with how Starfield's showing some of those planets. When this, because it's like dynamic lighting and stuff happening. Super cool. Super cool. It is why it's my top game of the year. I cannot praise Starfield enough. It'll probably be my top game next year too. We'll see. We'll see. Why so serious is, and I can max out Dead Island 2 with no problems. I think you could just talk about performance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dead Island UE4. There's still a lot of developers on UE4. They're like, I'm not changing to 5. Just because 5, it has a lot of impressive features in it, like Lumen and Nanite. I think with that though, like it's a little bit harder to jump from UE4 to UE5 because if you're doing Lumen and Nanite, you better make sure that your entire game is doing Lumen and Nanite because otherwise you'll get some issues here and there with optimization. Got like a bike driving by. Jeremy Lazoon says, "Show us. It will be interesting to see how developed games work." I was thinking about doing different shows about um, like me diving into actual game development and you guys getting to see the pipeline and stuff like that. I might do that. Maybe that'll be a show. Because now I'm more so in the commercial industry, but I think it'll be interesting because something Alana Pierce. So she just quit Santa Monica. Um, Something she said actually really stood with me in that post when she was talking about leaving that studio. She kind of talked about how a lot of the studio it's just unnecessarily hidden. Like you don't really know how games are made. They hide that fact from from like everybody. I'm not really allowed to talk about a lot of what I did on Fable and what I did at Ubisoft. I like hinted on shows of like what I did and things like that, but a lot of it is just surrounded by this weird secrecy. Um, I would just love to know what the conversations were when they were making Indiana Jones. You know, like what were those conversations like when they were like, let's recreate the intro from the first Indiana Jones film and really embrace the player into that experience. That would just be cool to see. That something we don't know, we just experience it. We're like, cool. But we don't know what those conversations look like. I think that's um my least favorite thing about the gaming industry is how much it's just surrounded in secrecy. When in other industries and movies and stuff like that, we know who they're dating. We know exactly what they had for lunch. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, I probably will do a show about that at some point. Because I really agreed with Halana in that video. There's a lot of things I related to her on. You should check that video out also. Jeremy also says, agree. I think Halo Studios should be considering using the ID engine. Yeah, I was actually thinking they would do that, but UE Halo's is I put that in a separate bucket just because there's a lot of um, talent they're trying to get, and it's the same problem right now. Like they are getting contractors, they're getting a lot of people who are jumping onto Halo. The main problem right now with that studio is they're bringing on new talent and they have to learn a whole new engine, just slip space. So I understand why they went to Unreal Engine because they could get people from other studios who know how to use it. They don't have to teach them necessarily. They just know the engine. They could jump in, do things. So I know why they did that. Like I said, it doesn't work for every game, but it's always cool to see someone use another engine because Unreal Engine 5 has this look to it where I'm like, yeah, that's a UE5 game. Indiana Jones has like this really unique looking characters' faces, the hair, the way they do lighting, it just looks different. So definitely cool to see. I'll do a couple more. We'll get to our last topic. Fuzzy Tomato says Halo will probably be 120. Don't worry about it being 30. I'm not worried about it being 30. Um, it'll probably be 60 guaranteed. I hope 120. 120 would be
Mhm.
epic. You think it'll be 120 fuzz?
I think 60, 4K, 120, 120, 1080.
Yeah.
I think that seems to be like the norm that they go for. Maybe they can squeeze it up to 1440, 120, something along those lines.
Yeah, I think so too. Halo's is one of those games where it makes sense for that game to have really good optimization and frame rate and stuff like that. But that's to my point earlier when I was talking about Witcher 3 Witcher used to be the CD Projekt Red engine that they use in Cyberpunk. Now it's Unreal Engine 5. Halo's doing the same. It's going to be really interesting if all of a sudden it starts having problems and you start getting hitches and like performance disparities. That will be a, a really interesting comparison video
Mhm.
for us to make, because we'll be like, we have 10 years of Halo that we can compare it to of how well it's performing to the new Halo, and all of a sudden we're getting issues. Then I will start to blame the Unreal Engine 5. I feel like, how dare you mess with my Halo? But yeah, I can't fully blame it right now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to though, starting a little bit. J Max says, shout out to the PXE podcast. Salutes 3-Bit and Fuzzy. Salute, gentlemen. Yes. Appreciate you for dropping on by. All right. Def Leopard says, I look forward to your game development videos. Yes, I will get into that. Maybe on a special podcast show, or um, however you guys would want the format. Like, I could do it in a video format, or you guys could just come on live. Me and Fuzzy, we could just do like a special show where we just talk about game and game development. Um, just let us know what you guys want in the comments. All right, so let's get into our last topic. Um, well, actually, no, I want to know a little bit more about Indiana Jones. So I'm really conflicted
Mhm.
getting to the third topic or Indiana Jones. A little bit more Indiana Jones.
Okay.
So when you're like beating up enemies and you're going and you're getting weapons and stuff, how do weapons feel? Like, how does the combat feel when you're like punching people? Does it feel as satisfying as it looks in the trailers? Like, when you're like grabbing somebody, do you feel like overwhelmed sometimes by the amount of enemies? Like, how is that whole experience?
The the whip and punching feels satisfying. Like as far as it feels gr- I guess granular or gritty.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like what you would want it to feel like when you go to either knock something out of their hands or trip them or whatever the case may be, or hit them upside the head. Although just as easily a haymaker that they throw can do some damage to you as well. The one drawback so far seems to be the pistol. Um, the pistol, even headshots don't necessarily seem to always register like you would think they should. Um, that's the one piece that feels like I don't know, maybe I need to do some upgrades to or something. But like when you're using the enemy's weapons that you can sometimes snatch from them, they work, but it's like headshots seem to be the only way to really thin them out real fast. Because
Mm-hmm. Okay.
if you have the enemy level up or above normal, that's when you'll get overwhelmed. Like normally you won't get overwhelmed like on like normal mode. I think maybe three people will be in front of you, and then there might be like five or six around the area coming towards you, or or focusing on helping those guys out. But when you put it on the harder level, you'll have at least four in front of you and another four behind them, and then like eight in the background is like, oh, come on, let's go. It's like, yeah, it's like you can get overwhelmed pretty quick. But that's
Okay.
if you want the challenge, go ahead and put it on hard.
Okay.
I'm not doing that just yet.
Yeah, I was
um,
actually debating playing it on hard or just the medium. I might just play medium first, get
yeah,
familiar, go back and play hard. Yeah.
yeah. Medium definitely feels balanced for the punching. I'm pretty sure when I start to upgrade, that's when I might move up a notch. But The pistol, for whatever reason, just headshots. It's like first guy, two in the head. Okay, he went down. Third guy or second guy, it's like first shot. Okay, he goes down. The third guy, it's like I just put three in his head and he's still coming towards me. It's like, what's going on? So that's the only weapon that just doesn't feel like it's consistent. But like punches and the whip, those definitely are very very useful. Just keep an eye on your stamina because
Mm.
if you're fighting three people at once, yeah, you're probably out of stamina, and you think the other guy like, oh, all I gotta do is punch him, and you're like, you go to punch him, and it's like he throws a haymaker, and you're down,
Mm.
or everything is red, and yeah, you better run around the corner and catch your breath or something.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. What about the voice acting? Like, was there ever a moment where you're like, oh, that's Troy Baker, or were you just like, dang, that's freaking Harrison somehow?
It
Like, how did it
it
feel?
the mannerisms because like from my understanding they did mocap on his face and mocap on whatever outfit as well so that way some of his mannerisms he emulates Harrison Ford to a T. Like I'm pretty sure in practice he probably watched every Indiana Jones film front to back
Yeah.
two and three times before each practice session or before each session for recording. Like I in the back of my mind, I know it's Troy Baker, but it's hard picking it up. Like I would say even like when he sounds like he's like not when he's angry, but when he's like about like he's wants to yell. Like there's a moment where he
Mm.
yells, "Just throw my whip, just throw it back to me." Even then, it's like no, that still feels like what Harrison Ford would say.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he had to do a lot of studying and he nailed it on that. Like I haven't come across a conversation with another character or when he's talking smack to some of the enemies as they're
Oh, he's going out a
punching
little
at
bit.
him,
Yeah.
stays in character. Like I'm pretty sure he was wearing the hat during some of those recording sessions. Like he really fell into character on this one. Like if he doesn't win an award for this, like this is why I was saying before the awards were announced, I'm like, I got a feeling this one's going to get snubbed, and it's like
Hmm.
it's playable. They should consider it. I bet you if it was coming to PlayStation, they would have considered it. I mean, it is coming to PlayStation, but maybe that will be why it gets considered for Game of the Year next year. They'll put it on there because of that. But yeah, he so far, and I'm like I said, 7 hours in, he doesn't seem to break character, like
Okay.
mannerisms and whatnot. And it's like from what they said, like I think from
Uh-oh.
one of the deeper dives or whatever, they watched his face and he kept on doing like the Harrison Ford like eye rolls or like the everything he does just feels like okay that was Harrison Ford and it's like if I know they say they don't want to do another one of those deep fake type of things for another Harrison Ford movie or for an Indiana Jones movie. I don't know if they could find a way to make that digital face from the game look a little more, photorealistic. Yeah, I think they got it made and
Yeah.
just use that. But man, he definitely stays in character. Like I've yet to notice him breaking character yet.
Yeah, and from the clips I've seen, from the trailers I've seen, I've played again like not even maybe 5 minutes. I played up until the part because it's not really a spoiler, just because
Mhm.
it's like it's the moments from the film where you're entering the temple. So I
Mhm.
got up to like this part where actually it's on the screen. I got somewhere around here. Um,
Mm.
and what I've seen so far, he really seems to embody the character. I've seen interviews where he kind of talks about doing the role, where he would have moments where he was like, I felt like he was he you could tell he studied the role. But he
Mhm.
was he was basically trying to imitate Harrison Ford. And then in the interview, he was saying like, I just kind of had to be Indiana Jones to really get the performance. out the way, which I just thought was like an interesting thing. Like he was trying to imitate a character, like this is how exactly his mannerism and stuff. But instead of just imitating him, he just somehow became him. I was like, what the like it's cool because I don't think we have a as close of a comparison as something like this where someone is playing an actor who still lives, still alive
Mhm.
today, but they are doing the voice and completely it's still their face, but it's just a interesting
Yeah.
um thing that they did here, and they absolutely killed it. I was when they first announced that it was gonna be Troy Baker, I was like, I don't know, I don't know, but he killed it. He definitely proved me wrong. He proved a lot of people wrong. Um,
Yeah.
that he's a talent. He's definitely one of the best voice actors out here right now.
Yeah.
The amount of roles that he's done, um, it just absolutely killed it. He was in Bioshock Infinite. Of course, he was um, Joel and a couple other roles.
Yeah.
He's great. He like as much as I want to be like he's such a good voice actor, good actor in general. So shout out to Troy Baker for killing it as Indiana Jones. We're gonna get to our last topic. It's like a mini topic with Marvel Rivals. So
Mhm.
Marvel Rivals officially crossed 10 million players in 3 days. Insane,
Yeah.
absolutely insane, man. I just downloaded the game. I haven't gotten the chance to play it yet. I know Steel and some of our network buds they've gotten a chance to check it out.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to play Marvel Rivals at all?
No, and it's one of those things where I know it's not my typical type of game, but I want to give it a try. But Indiana Jones has to be, completed first. Like I'm gonna stick to that discipline of no Marvel Rivals until Indiana Jones is done, and then it would be more of like a test. Okay, I don't really like Overwatch type games, but let's see how it goes. But it looks like a ton of fun. Like yeah, there's so many people in our community that are playing it and enjoying it, and I love the fact that their monetization stuff isn't quite the normal monetization stuff. So they're going to figure out a way to be that game to have some staying power. Although I see some devs that are uh,
Yeah,
being a little salty,
yeah. I was
but
trying to find that, but I couldn't find
he may
what
have
he said.
deleted it at this point.
Yeah.
But like I would have well, then again, he is a Path of Exiles fan,
Hmm.
so he's not going to badmouth that. And Diablo wasn't really his bag, but Overwatch supposedly was his bag. So it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows who we're talking about. But
Yeah.
it, Marvel Rivals is an example of where you can take a genre that's tough to enter into, but have one heck of an IP with Marvel characters, and it fits. Like it fits perfect. Like I, it almost makes you wonder. And I don't really mean to bring up the dead or whatever with Concord or anything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
but it just when they found out that Marvel Rivals was in development, I mean, it was in the same state of play, but that doesn't mean anything particularly. But they had to know something about that. Like when you're in game development, you kind of hear some things at least of what other studios might be working on if it's coming to your platform. Like if you're
Hmm.
first party and there's a third party game that might be similar, yeah, they may not have known until like a year or two ago, but they had to know something at some point. Like Sony should have been at least telling them, like, hey, there's going to be a game like your guys' game with Marvel characters. Anything you guys want to change up or do a little different, or it's going to be free to play? No, you don't want to change it? Okay,
No.
good. Just go back to work, guys.
That was such a weird
Ah,
case again because I'm like they saw the beta numbers for Concord. They knew it
mhm.
was low, and they usually isn't beta alpha supposed to be learnings? Like I would that's the moment where you're just like this is the numbers, this is the data we're getting back. Let's adjust. Instead, I
Hmm.
think what they did was like, let's use the beta as a promo device and let's change nothing. We're gonna have the same plan. Exactly what we like. It honestly felt like that's what they did.
Hmm.
Because we seen how abysmal of a launch that was. But Marvel Rivals is interesting. Mike Bar out here saying, I think it was Mike Bar, out here saying things. I wish I could find the exact quote, but basically for our audio listeners and everyone, he was basically dissing how close Rivals was to Overwatch, his baby.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, if I were to almost create a genre, I get it, kind of. But
Hmm.
listen, we're in an industry where games are constantly being inspired by each other. They are finding ways to improve the genre. I mean, we just seen, for example, the Horizon. That's pretty much a knockoff. But
Oh yeah.
the Horizon game, right? Where,
The only difference is the female character seems to be of a different ethnicity. That
yeah,
that's that's like the only real difference, really. Like,
honestly,
oh,
yeah.
dinosaurs, robotic dinosaurs in the future. Oh,
Hmm.
weird.
It is. What's actually funny about that game is I might actually enjoy that way more than Horizon. Just because I find the story of Horizon being this is so boring to me. Like I can't get into it. It's so beautiful to look at, and
Hmm.
that's what keeps me playing for a little bit, and then I'm just like, I don't care about the character, I don't care about this character, I don't care about where we're going. Like I can't, so I might actually that might be my Horizon, uh me getting into that series a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Marvel Rivals too,
Hmm.
it looks interesting. I haven't had to play it yet. I like how Black Widow is kind of like the the other Overwatch characters, the sniper and stuff like
Yeah.
that. They all got different abilities. I've seen clips of like Doctor Strange opening up portals and like
Hmm.
hitting people through the portals. Like each one of their powers, I like how it's influencing the gameplay. And I mean, it just looks fun. Like I want to play
Yeah.
as Storm and things like that. I know Pong was talking about like, yeah, Storm. So I definitely want to check it out. So if you guys are gonna check out Marvel Rivals, it's doing really well right now.
Yeah. I
Any
mean,
last comments on that one?
yeah, like I said, if you have the IP and you can reskin a game or, make a game inspired by another. I mean, look at Fortnite and PUBG. The people for PUBG went to Epic to help them or have them help them with the game. Meanwhile, Fortnite was supposed to be this tower defense game or save the world kind of game. And then they saw what Player Unknown was doing, and it was like, oh, we could do that. Let's just turn Fortnite into that, but with building,
Yeah,
and the rest is history. And they
yeah.
even tried to sue Epic on that. It's like, how dare you help us with a game and then steal our game?
You
I
never
mean,
know,
right
man.
now Nintendo's trying to sue Pal World, and they didn't even steal the game. Like, it's not that similar, but yeah, I don't know.
That whole
There's so
lawsuit is
many games that
interesting.
are inspired by other games. Like, if we're going to complain about that at this point, then we might as well not watch any new TV shows because I know this is going to probably sound far fetched. There really hasn't been any original ideas for movies in decades because they all kind of have similar plots. It's just you have different actors and
Yep.
different directors, but they all kind of play out, oh, the hero wins or the hero doesn't win or something in between that type of thing.
Hmm.
And it's not like I don't know. Like Avatar is a perfect example of that type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Not the anime. I'm not talking about the anime. I'm talking about
The blue
the blue movie.
Navis. Yeah. Yeah. The blue. Yeah.
But yeah, there really isn't that much originality these days. I mean, there don't get me wrong. Every now and then there is something that's like a plot twist. Like you could only but have one a Sixth Sense kind of movie, and Shyamalan's been trying to recapture that over and over again. Some of his
Hmm.
movies hit. This last one or Trap I liked, but
Oh yeah, I haven't seen
Probably
Trek yet.
shouldn't put his daughter in it, but that's another story.
Oh, he did. Oh,
But
dang.
it's I don't know. Rivals seems like a perfect marriage of an Overwatch or like uh, a hero arena shooter kind of thing, and have actual comic book heroes. That's perfect. Overwatch was doing that with their own original characters. Marvel comes in. I mean, here's the thing that's weird. Like, if I was a maker of Overwatch
Mhm.
in all these years, did they never think to do a crossover with Marvel?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, they did do recently the Transformer one, which is
Yeah.
cool. They should have done more collaborations. Like, they should have looked at Fortnite and be like, you know what? Before they copy us, let's do some collaborations like they are. They had to. I nearly bet you Marvel pitched something to them, and they were like, "Nah, we're good." And then Marvel's like, "I'll show those guys."
Yeah. I mean,
And
they
and
did it
now you
with
have this competitor.
Fortnite. So they it showed that they, do partner a lot. So
Yeah,
I could see that happening actually.
that's probably why somebody's
Uh,
so salty right now. But hey, he was probably the one that turned it down. It's like, now we're good.
You're like, "Oh, word? Okay. Well, we got this other idea." That's actually fascinating to think about. But yeah, games copy each other all the time. It's all about like their spin on something, how you can push the genre forward a little bit. To me, it's like, does Marvel Rivals do anything different or new? Probably not. But how does it feel to play? And also it's the IP, right? Like I would love to play as Spider-Man in a hero shooter type environment. What's it like to play Iron Man? Some of these characters don't have their own games also. Um, like an Iron Man game, I'm sure there's some out there. I know there's the VR one and stuff like that, but like it'd be cool to play with him in this setting. So that's what's fascinating to me about Marvel Rivals is getting to play those characters that I really love. So like I know what Cloak and Dagger does. How does that translate to a game setting? So Eastside Vandal is saying like Rivals is awesome so far. I'm a Cloak and Dagger main. Some
Mhm.
people are complaining about Iron Fist. They're like, take him out the game. I don't know why. I haven't played it yet, but
Probably broken,
yeah,
probably overpowered,
he's probably
too OP.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people are talking about. But right now, it's I'm gonna main Indiana Jones right now. No Marvel characters. I'm gonna main Indiana Jones, and then I'm gonna get to that game for sure. I did have other topic, but let's just close out the show, man. I really got to play Indiana Jones. I'm a gamer first, podcaster second. But no, I appreciate everybody for coming on by. You guys are absolutely the reason I love doing these shows because of you guys. So appreciate you guys for dropping on in. We've had um, great conversations, Fuzz, and we're gonna close out now. So thanks so much for everyone for checking us out. Fuzzy, please tell people where they can find you, brother, and what plans you have for some future shows.
Oh, as always, always awesome doing this podcast with you. Always love just chilling on Sunday, talking about what we've been up to and talking about gaming news and just interacting with the chat. Love your guys' points and feedback. Um, this is just awesome to do. Always look forward to this. And for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, you can pretty much do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere everywhere but Facebook. That's only place I'm not there for reasons. But outside of that, um, podcast on Monday, Xbox lunch break special 12 noon on Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick XL. Pretty sure we'll get into some indie stuff as well as some other stuff with Xbox. Man, Xbox has been having the blast of a
Mm-hmm.
year this year.
Yep.
And then more of that on FSP Monday night at 9 p.m. on Fun Speculations channel. Me, 3-bit, Fun Speculation, possibly Jasper will be there, maybe Psychonauts as well. Pretty sure we'll be talking about some indie and some other stuff as well. And the games coming out this week. And then it's Breakfast with Boom on 10 a.m. Friday night or Friday morning. Same channel, Double Barrel Gaming with Mr. Boomstick. 6 p.m. We'll finally make a return for Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. Yes, we'll be talking about The Substance. Um,
Heck yeah.
Hope you guys got the stomach for that. Awesome movie to kind of give our thoughts on. And then it'll be Xbox Ultimate at 9 p.m. on Fun Speculations channel. Shop Podcast Saturday. And then hopefully right back here Sunday, same time for Pixelated Echoes. Hope to see you guys there. Thanks again.
Heck yeah. And Eastside Vandal finishes it off with Iron Fist can eat my beep. Yeah, so apparently Iron Fist is really, really overpowered, which means I might be picking him. Thanks so much to everyone for showing up here. Every time we have a show, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be notified on when we go live. Be sure to follow us on other platforms, being Spotify very soon and Blue Sky for updates on just like for future updates. So if you guys agreed with us or not, also let us know in the comment section down below. Even though this was more of a opinion based episode of like how we're kind of digging Indiana Jones and things like that. Maybe we said something you didn't agree with, or maybe you just really vibe with our show. So I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you guys on the next episode of Pixelated Echoes. I guess part 2 of me and Fuzzy's points on Indiana Jones. If you want to see what our updated thoughts are from here to the next show, we'll be on Fun Speculation tomorrow, I believe. In It's been a minute for that show too. We all been on break, holidays, family stuff. So looking forward to talking to you guys basically tomorrow. So bye y'all. See you guys in the next one.
Later.